In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at our current conditions, obviously, as we're already taking a look at it, and we're also going to be taking a look at the upcoming pattern. I do realize that yesterday's video was pretty pessimistic. Okay, there wasn't a lot to feel positive about. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the same thing we took a look at yesterday, but we're going to be talking about the hope that there is some snowfall and cold available at some point in December. We only took a look at the first couple of weeks, and there's still a lot more of December to think about, so it's not all gone, all the hope of cold and snow. So that's what the focus is going to be today. Now, as we take a look at these current conditions, we can tell that a lot of the eastern United States, mostly these areas here, are high and dry, really looking quite pleasant today. Um, it's looking very nice, and honestly, I got out there. It's not too cold outside. It is very dry across a lot of these regions, like I mentioned, and it's just going to be nice overall. We do have, obviously, a glaring, very strong low pressure system here happening in the deeper south. That's for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi here, bringing severe weather. Very, very widespread rainfall, probably some windiness with it, and even some scattered snowfall in there as well in some areas. So we'll zoom in there in a little bit and take a look at that. And then we can see for areas further northwest, like the Rockies and areas in the middle western coast there of the United States, are dealing with some snowfall and rainfall mixed in. Let's just zoom into this storm quickly. And as we can see, there is, again, some pretty mixed precipitation depending on elevation. These areas are very elevation based here, the lower valley areas receiving rainfall, and then the higher elevation mountains receiving snowfall there. Now for California here, Nevada, Idaho, and Utah, we are seeing the same thing. Higher elevation areas seeing some snowfall there, lower elevation areas seeing some rainfall as the cold air is moving in, just not fast enough with this precipitation. I'm sure if this is still occurring overnight tonight, we will see more snowfall than rainfall. Now, as we work our way down towards this major storm here located over Texas, the low is here, we can see some showers spread across for this area. That's ranging from light to moderate showers there. And there is some areas more persistently receiving this rainfall, and certainly flooding is going to be a possibility throughout this storm. But I would say certainly, more certainly at least, here along this area in here for the deeper south, that's Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas. This is particularly where I'm worried because we see some heavier precipitation showing up here in these oranges and yellows. And it's a lot more widespread and lasting for many more hours in this region. So flooding is certainly going to be a concern. I would say particularly right here in this corridor. So Jackson is in there. New Orleans later on might be receiving quite a bit of this. But mostly Jackson in here down through potentially Alexandria there. Natchez, Hazelhurst here, Macomb, and then Jackson in Louisiana, I would say, and then Baton Rouge as well down there are all going to be the areas I'm concerned about for flooding with this storm. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do is move on and take a look at the upcoming pattern where there is a whole lot to talk about, like I mentioned before. Now, here we are taking a look at the storminess, and as we work our way towards this evening, we can see that a lot of this in the Northwest and the Rockies becomes snowfall overnight, like I mentioned, as the colder temperatures move in, the nighttime temperatures as well. And we see this storm spreading throughout the south central and southeastern United States here by about 2 a.m. on Sunday tonight, so overnight tonight. Now, as we work our way towards tomorrow afternoon, we're going to see a very rainy day along the eastern United States. Pretty much the opposite of what we're seeing this morning and afternoon is what we're going to be seeing tomorrow morning and afternoon. Very rainy, very stormy, and a 992 millibar low pressure center is going to be overhead around Buffalo, New York, around Erie, Pennsylvania. Somewhere in there is where we're going to be seeing this low located. Now, as we work our way even further into the model run here, we see there is a snowstorm that dives south here for the Rockies, and it's going to kind of extend all the way up here. So we're seeing snowfall for the southern Rockies all the way up through the upper Midwest. That will bring some snowfall with it. We can see on the eastern end, this is going to be a really strong rainstorm for a lot of the eastern United States. Our jet stream is doing about like this, so probably a very warm day here on November 30th for the East Coast at least. As things move on, we do see some back-end snowfall because we do get a big cool down here around Thursday, December 1st time frame. That ends very quickly, though, by December 2nd as that lifts off, and it's going to be high and dry again, very similar to this morning. Out west, though, we are seeing plenty of snowfall, plenty of storminess really out there. It's showers, so it's a little bit quieter, but no major snowstorms happening yet. We do have a low overhead up here in Canada by Saturday the 3rd, bringing some snowfall and mixed showers overall for the Northeast here. Let's keep going with this. And we do see another storm move through this very similar region in here for Monday the 5th. They're going to get an extreme amount of rainfall overall. So we'll take a look at that in just a little bit. But that is looking pretty intense there, the amount of rainfall they're expecting over the next 15 days. So we'll have to take a look at that on the total precipitation in just a moment here. Now we are seeing here for as we move towards about the 6th of December here, another storm system moves up into this region. So it's just over and over and over again. Snowfall and mixed precipitation here on the northern end of things, as you can see, rainfall underneath. That's the 6th to the 7th. Does become a pretty major snowstorm here for the mountainous regions and the northern regions there of New England and the Northeast in general, around the 8th. And then around the 9th, we see 9th, 10th time frame, we see another storm system here for the Southeast. So again, just continuing on this trajectory. And this is very interesting. Take this with a grain of salt, but we do see plenty of snowfall developing in here for the Mid-Atlantic and portions of the Southeast around Sunday the 11th. So maybe our last hope here. We're getting some hope for some potential snowfall in the eastern United States. Maybe. Now, total precipitation, like I said, huge amounts there for the Southeast and really in the eastern United States in general. Also the Northwest seeing quite a bit as well. Anywhere in the whites here, we're seeing practically no precipitation. Your grays are about 1/10 of an inch or less of precipitation. Greens being 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Blues 1/2 an inch to an inch. Yellows 1 inch to 2 inches. Reds 2 to 5 inches there. And then browns 5 to 10 inches of precipitation. We even see some blues popping up there for states like Arkansas and Tennessee and maybe some surrounding states as well. That's 10 inches plus in there, which is just huge amount, especially for this time of year in a 10 to 15 day period. So certainly very, very interesting amounts of storminess reaching the eastern United States during this model run. Now, total snowfall here, if you're anywhere in the grays, we're expecting a dusting, if anything. Blues 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Purples 6 to 10. Pinks 10 to 20 there. And then your pastel blues will be 20 to even 30 inches of snowfall. And then your pastel pinks going to be even more than that, 30 to 48 inches plus. So certainly a lot of snowfall expected for the Rockies, the western mountains there, and then up there in Canada as well. Now, the temperature pattern, let's just take a look at this. There is some periods of cold, even though most of it's going to be warm, obviously, like I mentioned. So we see we stay warm, and especially around the 30th of November, we're looking really, really warm here. But we do see there's a strong cold front rolling through here, bringing that cold air behind it, just like this. We're seeing plenty of cold air try to move in here. And as we can see, by December 1st, it does successfully move in. So we do see a beginning of December that looks quite cold. The 1st through the 2nd looking pretty cool. And then we get another warm-up with this warm dome we were talking about yesterday, really called the Southeast Ridge, typically. And this is going to be dominant in the upcoming pattern. We see that as we move towards about, so we're warm from about the 3rd through the 4th through the 5th here, and even the 7th, we still see the Southeast Ridge for some folks in here. But overall, there is cold air trying to move into the eastern United States. It just can't with that Southeast Ridge. Now, as we reach towards the 8th, that does finally beat out that Southeast Ridge for the most part, bringing cold air for a lot of the Northeast especially, and the Mid-Atlantic. And that lasts through the 9th and even the 10th. So we do actually end things pretty cold here in the eastern United States. It eventually is finally able to beat that Southeast Ridge overall, which is going to be interesting to see if that does happen. But again, we do need to take this with a grain of salt. This is very far out on the model run from the GFS, nevertheless, which people were mentioning in the long range. This model does struggle, which is true. At times, this model does struggle in the long range. At times, it does get it right. It does get it wrong in the long range. Overall, if you were to take a look at specific details, it gets it wrong long range more times than not. But if we were to take a look at a just overall pattern change, it could be on point here. That's a pretty safe bet there. So we're just going to continue to watch this daily. We do upload every single day, so be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell icon as well for daily notifications there to make sure you never miss an upload. Also, like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video.